bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
On we roll here in Frisco. Big 12 Media Days coverage presented by Cordette Equipment, also Horizon Glass and House of Flowers. Thanks to all our sponsors for making it possible. We're the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score. He's Jamie. I'm Chois. I'll keep those thoughts coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Really key question here, Jamie. What if it was Mountain Dew instead of Monster? You don't want the Mountain Dew logo on Texas Tech's uniforms?
I mean, that wouldn't break my heart. Don't get me wrong. Okay. If the money was right. But
if the money was right.
The money was right, but
the money's not right.
I mean, that would be, okay, you remember how I described the breakup of Texas Tech and Under Armour a few years ago?
That would hurt you. Yeah.
That it was like mom and dad were getting divorced, and I didn't know which side to pick.
I remember these things. You still haven't figured out which side to pick. Jamie wears Under Armour all the time.
If Mountain Dew and Texas Tech were getting together, that would be like, okay, Dad just got the coolest second wife ever.
Now, can we go back to Under Armour with this Mountain Dew logo? That's awesome. I got the coolest stepmom ever.
Or like,
wow.
Or mom remarried Tony Kukoc or something. I mean, what are we doing? Let's go.
What about Dad remarrying Tony Kukoc? Sorry.
I don't think it works that way, Choice.
Oh, it does some places. All right, this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Dear Choice, how are you? I am fine. The Jamie Lynch Show featuring Chuck Hines need to be sponsored by Good Tide or Wild Mountain Man Snacks. Just so you know, love you. Gordo, P.S., thank you for your Big 15 sports talk that you give us. 15? We're opting out of the league altogether now? Is that how that goes? Okay.
So.
Jamie says some sort of sunscreen is what he needs.
Yeah, I think the morning drive should be sponsored by some sort of sunscreen. Yeah, and we got to take care of Chuck.
I got a top 3 worst sunburn of all time a couple weekends ago. On the belly. You ever got like a chest belly sunburn? Oh,
yes.
It is one
floating the river.
Yep.
And laying on your back all day long.
You should see my tan without my shirt right now, Jamie.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, if you want to. I have apparently I applied the spray-on sunscreen and missed most every part of me apparently.
Shocker.
But there's one like streak. Yeah, I guess it was windy. There is one streak on me right now that is like right here down my inner arm and side of my chest that is, clear. Everything else is dark, and it is. It's great. So
I remember walking it felt like 3 days afterwards, holding my shirt away from my chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. I did not realize how much my kids come up to me and punch me in the gut until we've got 3 boys in the family. Well, 4 with me, but 3 boy kids in the family, and I did not realize how much they just come up and hit Dad in the stomach just for fun. Until those 3 days after that summer, I'm like, well, okay, we gotta cut down on this. There was a lot of, I'm so sorry, I forgot type of situation.
It's a bad deal, Choice.
It's not a great deal. It's not. All right, so outside of the Monster Energy stuff, Jamie, what stood out to you or has stood out to you so far in Big 12 Media Days?
Well, I mean, just the Texas Tech side of things where clearly – when you saw the reaction yesterday from Brett Yormark, the hurt feelings are not just towards us.
Correct.
Yeah, like he didn't want to talk about this subject so badly that you could see that there was attitude, frustration, whatever. Again, we can all talk about how the question was presented to him. The first question was pretty well presented.
Fine.
Yeah, it was well presented to him.
It was just fun, yeah.
So I think that stood out to me. As expected, as you walk up and down these aisles of media members and Radio Row members, the Texas Tech is the hottest topic of conversation for a few different reasons. Maybe not many, but a few different reasons. And so that has stood out to me as well. I think when talking to the Tech players, what stood out to me was that there is a little bit of chip.
Yes.
There was offense taken.
And they didn't just say no comment on Brendan Sorsby. Yeah.
Yeah, the way we feel as a fan base, where all of a sudden Texas Tech fans are saying, I want to hang 200 on Cincinnati, I want to pound these teams, all the above, it feels like the players feel that way too. I love that. That's awesome.
I agree.
Okay.
I think that's what stood out to me the most from the Tech players.
And then the other thing that stood out is it's almost like they all took offense for Will Hammond.
Yeah.
And they all are, have his back. They're rooting hard for him and hopefully believe in him. But they want things to go well, partly just for Will Hammond.
Yes, and I think the health of Will Hammond was reiterated yesterday, where it sounds like I would almost be surprised if he's not playing in Game 1. Just the way – I don't think you're talking about it, Jamie, or Texas Tech and players and Coach McGuire are talking about it the way they are if they're not pretty confident he's going to be ready week 1. And that's a far cry from what it was 2 or 3 months ago.
Right.
So we've kind of, known this for a few weeks in Lubbock, but that was doubled down on. Something else that's standing out now is there's a pretty fresh Athletic article that's come out within the last hour from comments from Scott Satterfield saying that Texas Tech tampered with Brendan Sorsby. So this is, hey, let's deflect things. Rob and Brennan can get into that if they'd like to coming up here in the next hour or so. We continue our coverage of Big 12 Media Days. Here, part of the Bottom Line, and presented by Cornet Equipment on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Like 3 hours ago. It's the Bottom Line now. The Bottom Line rolls on. It's 1 o'clock. We'll be here till 3 o'clock. And then on Double T 97.3 until 6:30 as the Rangers take over. The Texas Rangers, I think we're like 0-5, 0-6 for a stretch, trying to get from 500 to above 500. I think the last 3 or 4 opportunities they've had at 500 to get back over 500, they've won. I guess maybe they lost one of them because they dipped under 500 for a minute, but now they're back at and above 500. Is that true? Or are they still under? You know what?
I think they're
the Rangers have done so many things. I think they beat the Tigers. Maybe they're back at 500. This is something I should have prepared for. I just listened to it in the Jeff McGuire Sports Center.
One game above 500,
okay, so
half a game back of the Mariners.
Okay, so they were at 500 yesterday.
Yes.
Back over today. Josh Young out for some time. We'll see. We'll see if we have a lineup at some point. Brennan, you're going to some Rangers games this weekend.
Yes.
The Texas Rangers are a team, and obviously it's Big 12 Media Days. We're live at Big 12 Media Days presented by Cornet Equipment. We will talk plenty of Big 12 Media Day stuff today. We'll get into those conversations that Chois planned for us in the final segment of the last hour when he's just like, oh, yeah, Robin Brennan will talk about that. There's a story by Matt Hayes out of the USA Today. There's a story out of the Athletic that we'll discuss. So we'll get back to that today. But just quickly on the Rangers. Do they have the juice? I was asking Jamie this yesterday. It just feels like they're destined to be 81-81. Out of 162 games, it just feels like this team is about 500.
I think this is a very average team in a very average division. Now, there's something to be said about how the Rangers have responded without Corey Seager. I think at times they kind of feed off of that and maybe play a little more free and loose without Seager's presence. And I love what the young guys bring to the table, like Alejandro Osuna. But I think they're going to. They've had some good moments recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, June was a good month down the stretch towards the end of the month. I don't know if they can sustain that juice, but I think if you enter the All-Star break above 500, I mean that could go a long way. We'll see, but that's a good kind of marker of where the Rangers are. I just don't know if they can sustain it down the stretch in the months in August and September.
I might be misquoting you here, but you said without Corey Seager, the team plays free and clear. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So are you saying that with Corey Seager, they play tight and distracted? They will
Yes.
be the opposite. Okay. Should the Texas Rangers, if they're around 500, go ahead and sell off Corey Seager and just have a youth movement here?
I think so.
You have Sebastian Walcott, who is hurt right now, but coming up. He seems to be the shortstop of the future. And Corey Seager, you're selling low right now because, A, he's been injured, he has the concussion, and also he just hasn't been good this year.
He hasn't been really good since after the World Series run. I mean, he's had some good moments, but it's just kind of like he's ran into a lot of injuries. He's starting to get up in age. I mean, common things that happen with star players like Corey Seager. I don't want the Rangers to be buyers. The past 2 years, the past two trade deadlines, the Rangers have been buyers, and it's been thrown back in their face. I think this is the perfect opportunity to kind of lean on some of these younger guys who are taking advantage of some playing time and just kind of see what they can do down the stretch. They do bring energy. I mean, remember last summer we had the Little Rascals, and now it wasn't always perfect at times, but there was some energy and mojo with the Little Rascals, and it seems like despite what is said about the Rangers farm system, you do have some young, bright talent that can contribute a little here and a little there.
I don't know. It just seems like you could get the most for Corey Seager, even with the season he's had. But he's a two-time World Series MVP, once with the Texas Rangers, once with the Dodgers. He's a really good player. Good players don't normally just fall off cliffs. There's usually a slow decline with players like Corey Seager, but sometimes they do. And I have no doubts that Corey Seager can get back to what he was at some point, but can he for full seasons? Can he for stretches? Is he good enough for a stretch to keep him around? If you are, hey, we know Corey Seager is going to be good for a month.
Yeah,
and it's more important for Corey Seager to be great in September, August, than it is for him to be good in April and March. But it does feel like Corey Seager is just a bit past his prime. But what do you get back from that? I don't know. I don't know if you get pieces, if you can get prospects. In the AL West right now, you certainly want to try and compete because you're right there, a game out of first place. And so it seems like a little bit of a you don't know what to do. But neither do the Astros, neither do the Mariners. I mean, the Mariners have their own questions with Cal Raleigh and what they're doing and how they can kind of figure it out. The Astros have a lot of issues with, hey, we're hurt. Oh, we're healthy. Oh, we're hurt again. Oh, we're healthy. And Jordan is the only one who's having a really good season over there. And he is, MVP-type season. But he's kind of dragging along the rest of the team with him. You had the Astros and the Rangers both get hot for a stretch, but it just seems like both of them are going to run into issues. And then you have behind that the Athletics and the Angels, who I think will tail off even further, but you never know. You never know if one of those teams win. I mean, if they win 5 in a row, they're right back in it. And that's not unheard of, that you sweep a series and win the next. So it just seems to me that the AL West is what it is. You have a real opportunity to win the AL West this year because everyone else is in the same predicament as you, especially at the top. But is Corey Seager best for business in 27? In 28? In 29? How long is his contract? Into 30, right? 31?
Yeah, it was a 10-year.
I mean, it's just a ridiculous deal. So it does feel like it might be time, but I don't know if I don't know if there's ever a right time to trade off a World Series MVP.
Right, and you made a good point that, look, it doesn't matter if he's good in April and May. If you're in a position in September, I mean, he's a guy that can be made for September and really just made for October, and that's clearly where he's shined the brightest. So maybe you just kind of hold on that one more and see, okay, if he can get healthy this season and play down the stretch, can he give us a chance to get in the playoffs? And once, if the playoffs are a real situation for the Rangers, can we make another deep push?
This is probably not a good tease for the next segment, but this athletic story about Scott Satterfield and the tampering is a nothing burger. We'll talk about why when we come back. We also have quotes from Matt Hayes on how poor Mark is ruining the Big 12. We'll do both of those with Brennan Riker on the bottom line. Hey, we're live at Big 12 Media Days. We'll roll on with Cornet Equipment after this.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back, 100.7 The Score. We are live at Big 12 Media Days for several more hours. We'll be live till 6:30 today, taking you all the way to the Texas Rangers against the Angels tonight on Double T97.3. Of course, right now we're on 100.7 The Score. It is the Bottom Line. Rob Rowe, Brennan Riker here together today. We were just talking about Chris Vanini and his story on Scott Satterfield. There's another story out there from USA Today and Matt Hayes on what we were calling the kerfuffle with Brett Yormark yesterday and a media member. We might get to that one as well. I do have a few more comments. Now, I like press conferences, Brennan. I like listening to press conferences. I watch press conferences maybe more than the next guy. I like to watch press conferences of coaches who you're about to play or you just played. I watch all the Texas Tech coach press conferences. I will probably go home and rewatch all of the Big 12 media press conferences from day one that I missed. I was sitting over there with Satterfield and Jimmy Rogers and Sonny Dykes back to back to back. I got 3 quotes maybe that I – and the one I wrote down for Sonny Dykes was rivalries make college football great.
Yeah, we didn't learn really anything of value from any of those 3, and the questions asked weren't exactly looking for some good insight or whatever.
Well, and Satterfield lobbed on the good question, and it just, I don't know. It just didn't seem like those 3 coaches gave their best. Now, this is Jimmy Rogers' first one. Jimmy had some good stuff to say, but Scott Satterfield might be the most boring person here in the building. And Lance Leipold was after we left. I would assume Lance Leipold was pretty frustrating to watch as well. But I don't know. I'm so thankful for Joey when I watch other people's press conferences because he's not only a good interview, but he just exudes some energy. And these other guys are just up there. Oh yeah, we're really excited about Big 12 Media Days, and what a great opportunity we have. And you know, the Big 12 Conference has been so good to us, and we really enjoy this thing we've put on with the Star here at Frisco, and it's just a really good opportunity for our team and our players to talk to the media, and we're excited to get this done in 2026. Thank you. Any questions?
They really did not do a good job of separating out the or differentiating each day between the energetic coaches and the not so. Because yesterday there was a lot of energy in this building, and rightfully so. A lot of conversation revolved around Texas Tech first and foremost.
Certainly.
Today is just kind of in the building. The vibes are a little dead. And if you're what's the saying? If you're juiceless, you're useless. That's kind of what we got going on today.
Colin Klein did have a little bit of juice. He said that college football is the greatest sport in the world. They also asked him, hey, you coached with Kleiman, the last guy. You played for the guy before him, and Bill Snyder. What did you learn from those coaches? And he said Bill Snyder's fingerprints are all over his life, and probably a bit of the reason why he even went into coaching in the first place, and that he learned a lot of things he didn't know he was learning when he was there with Colin Klein, or with Bill Snyder. It does feel like Colin Klein is night and day from Satterfield too, but also Kleiman, who was just kind of he was a little bit intense on the field, but man, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say the word I'm thinking. It's kind of a soft press conference, Coach Kleiman, and so it does feel like you have a little bit of more energy, a bit of an edge with Colin Klein, maybe. He said that Avery Johnson is very stoic but laid back, but his motor runs hot under there, which is a direct quote. And sure, he did say that they were a lot alike and they get along.
Runs in the family.
You do, yeah. You do have the return, I guess, of Colin Klein as the play caller for Avery Johnson. So there's an opportunity there for those guys to just, build on that. They also said that they were going to use the new old school, which I thought was cool. And he said, it was one of those conversations like, in the world today, there's no accountability, and we're all out here just goofing and gobbing, and we want to get back to the old school mentality. And, hey, look, if they can do that, the school that can do it is Kansas State.
They fit the mold.
That is a place that feels like it is old school, and in a lot of ways they haven't moved on, and they need to. But on the football field, if they can create that kind of old school feel with the team and the offense and the defense, maybe they can get it going with Colin Klein. I liked Colin Klein's press conference. I thought it was good.
And I've kind of thought with Colin Klein if there will be a similar effect this season to now. I think it's still a little different, but what Cliff Kingsbury did when he first arrived as your head coach and just the revived energy around your program. We were desperate for something fresh after the disaster that was Tommy Tuberville. Colin Klein enters this Kansas State job a little older than what Cliff was at that time, but still a relatively young Division I head coach with a little bit of mojo, and obviously had some swagger when he was playing for the Wildcats. So I'm curious to see if you see that early season energy when they kind of are running hot, their motors running hot, and have a good start to the season. If they have that and can sustain that, yet to be determined. But it seems to be probably a good hire for the Wildcats to follow after Kleiman.
I wish someone had asked Colin Klein if they were going to run Avery Johnson 300-plus times like he did when he was at Kansas State. I don't think that'll be the case. You bring up the similarities between Cliff Kingsbury and Colin Klein. Yeah, they both were offensive coordinators. Colin Klein has more experience being a play caller. Cliff Kingsbury was just a play caller the last 1 or 2 years with Kevin Sumlin. But Cliff, coming from A&M, had only been with Kevin Sumlin. He was with Kevin Sumlin at Houston. He was with Kevin Sumlin at A&M. I think Kleiman and Elko are much better coaches. And I think Kleiman can teach a lot of good things about building a program and sustaining a program. I don't know how much you learn about the NIL world and otherwise from Coach Kleiman, but then you go to Elko and you learn all that stuff. I mean, A&M is a team that's spending and getting in the portal, and recruiting at a high level. And it feels like this staff from Kansas State is kind of the best of both worlds with what Elko brings and with what Kleiman brings. So if I was a Kansas State fan, I would have a lot of hope for Colin Klein.
No doubt. Yeah, he's probably poised for better success than Cliff did during his time at Texas Tech.
All right, we will continue on after this. 100.7 The Score. One more segment with Brennan Riker. Then we'll bring Chois back on for an hour to end the bottom line. It rolls on live at Big 12 Media Days, presented by Cornet Equipment after this.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back, 100.7 The Score. It is the end of the bottom line.
What was that?
Yeah.
It's the bottom line. That's what I said. I did not mess that up at all.
The end of the bottom line is actually in like 45 minutes, but
That's
you're
true.
close. You're close.
Rob Rowe alongside Chois Woodman. Hey, Chois, I've been looking at these mannequins for a couple minutes.
Okay.
I'm not going to make you power rank all 16.
I would do it on the spot if you wanted.
All right, let's power rank all 16 from bottom to top.
I was joking, but
I called
okay.
your bluff.
Well, we can't see all of them, so
Can't tell, but you've seen them.
yeah, I have seen them. Okay.
Arizona State's behind the podium. Texas Tech and Utah are on the left there.
Okay, Texas Tech's number one because I'm very biased.
Yeah, but I think the black and red just looks
Oh
really
no.
good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to talk bad about it. I'm like, I love the black and red.
No, it looks awesome.
So we can go 15 if,
And,
if we want to
Texas-
recuse ourselves
yeah.
from the vote there.
Texas Tech is beside Utah, and they're red mogging them.
Yes. Okay. BYU's the second best look in the conference with the white, blue, white.
Yeah.
We're going, and I can't see everybody, but
So Houston and Utah, if you like one of them, you got to like both of them. They're the same.
I actually
The numbers are a little bit different.
next up is Colorado for me. I've always the gold and black
Really?
have always been really good for me. So that's 3. I'll go. I like Arizona's look. It's always clean. Arizona, Oklahoma State, especially now that they've gone kind of back to the old school look and font.
That particular Oklahoma State jersey looks really good.
Yes. Yep. I'm a fan of that. What's next to? So that's TCU, Tech, and who's
Utah.
Utah's the other one. Yeah, Utah and Houston. You're right. Or I like Utah's a little bit better, so I'll go there, and then probably Houston next. Cincinnati, they do red and black, but not as well.
Not as good, yeah.
We'll go there. Who's on the other? Oh, Arizona State.
Yeah.
That we can't see.
Very yellow.
We'll go Baylor. I don't like Kansas that much, but they're next.
I like the all blue.
K-State. Then TCU, UCF, and Iowa State rounds out the bottom.
Colorado would be lower for me. Kansas State would be in the top 5.
I don't like purple in general. So that's part of it. And then
Do you like the Cowboys uniforms?
honestly, they're okay.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what you have there.
That's very close, yeah.
Yeah.
With blue instead of purple.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where
So you're Kansas State at the very bottom because they're purple?
No, Iowa State is McDonald's
But
over
you
there.
put TCU up.
No, TCU I think was next to K-State.
Okay.
They're both right there. I'd probably go TCU because there's more black involved than theirs in general. But
There's also 2 jersey patches up there. Both Oklahoma State and Kansas have jersey patches at Big 12 Media Days.
yep,
Kansas did not yesterday. I believe they announced that this morning. And then we saw live the Kansas, I guess SID, take the jersey over with the new patch and put it on the mannequin.
yes, yeah, they did that today. So, can I express a slight pet peeve of mine?
I want you to express everything you want to, Choice. This is a radio show where we're talking to the people.
Okay, that's really kind of you. UCF should be at the bottom or like at the next to Texas Tech.
Yeah, if they're
Not
gonna deny being called Central Florida,
yes,
they shouldn't be in the C's.
But the Big 12 always does this on their order of the flags over there on the order. UCF starts with a U.
Are you Central Florida or are you UCF?
Right.
You got to pick one.
So if they're going to be called UCF, they start with a U.
Yeah.
Everybody knows them as a UCF, so they should be down there by Texas Tech, not in the C's.
I agree.
It's a slight annoyance, a little bit of OCD there, but fix it.
What is a little bit silly, I would say. This texter says, what's the news with Cincy now getting questioned about Sorsby? The NCAA sent an inquiry to Cincinnati. What comes of this? What moments and anything comes out of this? I have no idea. Probably nothing, honestly.
I would guess little to none.
But they are being asked, allegedly.
I don't know. If you're there's two things that can happen here, Rob. There's more than two, but two in my mind that can happen here. Okay? I think Cincinnati can admit some fault. They can say, actually, well, this coach that's no longer there knew about it. They could do something along those lines. So we're self-reporting this.
Beyond what they've already said?
Yes.
Self-reporting.
No, that's what I'm saying. That is probably their safest action is probably, hey, let's blame this coach that's not here anymore. Let's say that he knew a little bit and we didn't have knowledge of this, but he knew. Let's blame it like this. We can do it this way. And basically create someone as a scapegoat and make it as minimal as possible. But then still be like, oh, but he didn't know the vast expanse of all that went on. That's one thing they could do, and then that might be good enough for the NCAA to accept. The other more dangerous thing for Cincinnati to do is deny everything. Just say, nope, we've already told you what, there's nothing to see here. And then the NCAA, which we've established the lack of spine there, they can do what they do a lot of times after someone tells them to investigate. They can move forward and, hey, you know what? We're going to launch an investigation here.
Yeah.
And that would be far more dangerous for Cincinnati because likely there is some sort of paper trail, whether it is old text messages or emails or something. Yep. There's probably something out there that does show that there's been knowledge of Brendan Sorsby's gambling issue. Beyond the little bit that they say they followed the rules. Beyond that, where they knew it was knew it was worse. Text messages are usually the thing that gets uncovered.
Yeah.
So I actually think Cincinnati may self-report here. Do something very small where they'll, okay, you're going to, lose a couple scholarships. It may not even be that big of a deal. Or you're on probation. That's the big one.
Whatever
That's the
it
biggest
is,
slap on the wrist.
Yeah. There's going to be a public
Your
reprimand.
probation for 2 years.
It just, to me, if the Prohibet hit, which is the app that all student athletes use, and
Yep.
if they knew about that, then they knew about it. And they've said they didn't know anything except for that.
Well, where does the Prohibet go?
But, okay, I've seen two reports, two different reportings here.
Okay.
That it did go to the Big 12, and the Big 12 alerted Cincinnati. And then I've also seen a reporting that it goes straight to Cincinnati. So
I'm guessing it goes both places.
I would assume, right?
You would think. I mean, it's such a big deal, as we've seen. It's such a huge deal, Rob, as it's been shown throughout this offseason how huge a deal gambling in sports is. And if it is, then absolutely this Prohibet, if you're going to employ it to your conference, why would it not go to all places?
And why does it not go to the NCAA too?
And I'm not sure it doesn't.
Right. And so
maybe because they want to try to work through things before it gets to the NCAA.
It just seems like it should go to everyone. It should be a pop, and it doesn't matter because Chad Brandel. I wonder if he's here. There's a Cincinnati reporter that has just been screaming at Texas Tech fans on social media for months. That Cincinnati only knew about the approved gambling that can happen, like UCF or UFC and stuff like that. It's like, if you know he's gambling at all, there should be more to it than that.
Yeah.
All right, I believe we have Shehan Jeyarajah coming up next. We'll see where he is in regards to our station. If he is on with us, we'll talk to him. If not, we'll talk about something else after this. 100.7 The Score, live from Big 12 Media Days.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back, 100.7 The Score. It is The Bottom Line, live from Big 12 Media Days. We've had a couple of interviews today. We had John Kurtz. We had Jamie Plunkett. Now we get a national guy, Shehan Jeyarajah. We've had him on a couple of times on our airwaves. I think he was on Tech Talk last year. Certainly made some waves. Award-winning Shehan Jeyarajah. Sorry, I didn't mean to slight you there. For some pieces he wrote about Texas Tech. I guess let's start with Texas Tech.
You're not going to start with the jacket?
One of the more we'll get to the jacket. We'll get to the
awesome.
jacket.
Okay.
One of the more tumultuous off seasons, I would say, is as far as media goes. How do you think Texas Tech handled it from a national perspective? Because we've heard a lot about the PR issues that might have come from the Sorsby situation.
Well, I think it was a mixed bag, right? Like, I think that, I give them a lot of credit for, I think, first being clear in what their objectives were, right? They wanted to protect the player. They wanted to support the player best they could. For me, I think that the biggest thing that went wrong is that, in my opinion, the injunction should just not have been granted, which is outside of, Texas Tech's control, obviously. Now, look, there are things that, I think that if they could do it over again, probably wouldn't release a 21-minute video on Twitter. Maybe they would have done it on YouTube, maybe not on Twitter. But, I think that overall, I felt like Joey McGuire handled the questions very well yesterday. I thought he moved on in a good way. I thought that everybody kind of moved on in a good way. And, it's certainly a situation that I hope that we don't have to replicate anytime soon. But, I still think that Texas Tech's administration is very committed to kind of the league and what's happened here.
But it does feel like, at least, we in West Texas, we have a chip on our shoulder in general.
Really?
Everybody's always
First I'm hearing.
Really? And, no, you've been there. It's a desolate place at times, but it's not what people make it out to be either. It's not just this desert. But there's a chip on our shoulder naturally, and there's a lot of people that feel in West Texas that it is 15-1, 15-1s on T-shirts and those sorts of things. What's that perspective like from the rest of the league when Texas Tech feels like everybody's against Texas Tech?
No, and I think that one thing I've tried to explain to people who don't know Lubbock very well, right, is that, this is one of the big moments where, like you said, where Texas Tech people, Lubbock people, they fight for themselves. They fight for each other, and that's very integral to the identity of the place because, it has to be, right, when you are a little isolated.
Yeah.
And, and the other thing, too, is that I think that there's a lot of people at Texas Tech and in Lubbock who maybe aren't used to as many eyeballs as have been on them through these past 6 months or so. Yep. But, I do think that, like you said, when I look at Joey McGuire, when I look at Texas Tech, Joey McGuire is a high school coach. He is somebody who, you have players get in trouble in high school, but, it's not like they don't go to school anymore, right? Like, you support them still, and you still do things for them. And, he said in our interview room, right, he was like, when you have me, you're stuck with me for life. And I do think that was a defining ethos of how this was done, and I think that fits Texas Tech and Lubbock very well. But, again, you do have to deal with sort of the PR, the visual, all this sort of stuff, and, that can be a little bit of a mixed bag.
You mentioned the eyeballs on Texas Tech. You went to Baylor, yes. You covered the state of Texas football. You're a college football writer. You've been in and around the Big 12, college football, the state of Texas. Can you ever think of a time when, Texas Tech had this amount of eyeballs, even in the Mike Leach era where it's like, oh, look at that funny little guy down there, It just seems like a brand new world, right?
Yeah, I remember watching on a school bus going to a band competition when Michael Crabtree had a catch against Texas, and that's it. That's the only time. So, no, I mean, like you said, it is a new era. There's not been a time that Texas Tech, for better or worse, has been so relevant. You know, they've been the driver of conversation. One of the reasons I wrote the story that I did last year is because I was like, I kind of think that Texas Tech might be the defining program of 2025. When has that ever been the case, right? Yeah. So, like, no, I mean, it's a different era. I think that Texas Tech has done a lot of stuff well, and, you know, people can kind of point to, like, yeah, you know, the billionaire bought them a roster, but, like, I think that there's a lot of stuff that they did really well, whether it's leveraging that roster, whether it's identifying. I mean, the hit rate on that transfer class is insane. And of course, the way that they were able to finally go and break their drought of conference championships. So, no, like you said, it's a different era. I think that whenever you make the playoff, there are more eyeballs to you in general when you head into your next season. And but that also comes with more scrutiny.
The mindset for Texas Tech and Texas Tech fans seems to have changed so much in 2 years, in just the matter of such a short amount of time, where Jamie and I were talking about this earlier. You know, it's an expectation to go win the conference championship this year. It's not we hope so. It's an expectation. So do you think that as Texas Tech fans and media and expecting on Texas Tech to be the class of this league for the next however long, is that a fair thought, or do you think there's other teams in this league that will be able to catch back up with Texas Tech on how they've operated?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think that Texas Tech is the only school that's investing at a high level, and I think that there are a lot of programs that have done a great job of identification and development as well, even within that, right? BYU, to me, is by far, not just this year, but I think over the next 5 years, kind of the team that's going to be the biggest battle. They're so well coached, just like Texas Tech, and, you know, they really have an identity that they know how to deploy. You know, and again, you know, for me, like the other schools in Texas, I expect that one of them will be a real competitor. At this point, that hasn't been the case, but Houston's coming. I think one of Baylor or TCU will finally kind of get back to what they've been doing a little bit. And again, like it's a conference of a lot of very good teams too, right? Oklahoma State with Eric Morris coming in. You know, we know what Kansas State has done for the past 2 decades. But, like, I think that for the next 3 years, let's call it, I mean, I think this is going to be a Texas Tech versus BYU fight.
Dave Aranda may not be the head coach today if Baylor wasn't going through an athletic director change this last offseason. DJ Lagway, they had, I think, a defensive lineman, maybe an offensive lineman they brought yesterday. DJ Lagway was the biggest of the bunch. The guy looks mad. He looks like a D1 quarterback. I mean, if you were building a prototype, the guy just looks.
This was the first time I had seen him in person, and I was like, whoa, did they, like, stretch him out? Like, he just kept going.
Massive.
Yeah.
So you have DJ Lagway, you have Dave Aranda. What do they need to do as a duo here to kind of save Aranda's job? And if it's not Dave Aranda, what kind of coach needs to be at Baylor to take them to where they need to be?
Yeah, stop the dang run. That's the first thing. They haven't stopped the dang run
in just about play linebacker.
Yeah, in 4 years they basically haven't stopped the run, and almost every issue that they've had since then comes down to that. Well, 2022 is also more of the offense, but like 23, 24, 25, it's all been they can't stop the run. I spoke to Dave Aranda yesterday. He said he feels like, you know, this defensive line has a chance to be one of the best that he's had since he's gotten there. Do you believe him? We'll kind of have to wait and see, right? I do think they're pretty good at linebacker with a couple guys coming back. I think that they're okay at defensive back. And offensively, I mean, this was the best passing offense in the Big 12 last year. It just didn't matter because they couldn't stop anybody. And so, you know, look, I think that to answer your first question, like, they really have to, I think, get back to an identity on defense. Bring in Joe Klanderman, the old K-State defensive coordinator, as their new defensive coordinator, I think will help from that perspective. But, you know, if it isn't Dave Aranda, like, I mean, I think that the big thing is, right, like, because in Waco, of course, people are always going to be like, well, you know, should we have picked Joey over Dave? I think that Joey is perfect for Texas Tech. But I do think that Baylor does need somebody who's going to be more of a visible face to help recruit the business community, to help recruit donors. I mean, again, when you're a private school, there's a lot of money in it, but it's in a very small amount of hands. And I think that somebody who can kind of help grease those wheels a little bit is going to be important, as well as just trying to reestablish themselves as sort of a visible program in Texas.
So, to you, what are the biggest storylines in the Big 12 heading into the 2026 season?
Yeah, I think that certainly, Texas Tech and BYU both kind of like, can they replicate and build on what they did during that first season? I think also, this is a period of change and transition in the Big 12. So many established coaches are out of the league, right? Mike Gundy, Kyle Whittingham, Matt Campbell, Chris Kleiman. It's really interesting, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I'm curious to see kind of who of the new guys are willing to make their mark.
All right, this is Shehan Jeyarajah. We are live at Big 12 Media Days. We'll have more coming up. We'll be with you till 6:30 tonight. Be back after this on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.